You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to The Spirit Dimension with your host, Kerry Greenaway, right here on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Spirit Dimension. I am one of the hosts for this evening. My name is Kerry Greenaway and I'm joined by the lovely Clare Hinks again. Good evening, Clare. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. Absolute mayhem over the bonfire weekend.
Yes, it has been. Lots of pops and bangs going on around here, that's for sure.
And same here, same here. I went to a massive bonfire display or firework display last night, which was absolutely awesome with the kids. So, yeah, it was really, really good. You have to excuse it. It's a little manic.
Talk of the kids.
Yeah, talking of the children, it's a little manic in our various houses. So bear with us, please, listeners, because we have very exciting children and partners and stuff. Anyway, we are joined tonight by an amazing lady. Her name is Pamela Caddy. She's a medium and works with automatic writing. So this is a subject that absolutely fascinates me. What about you, Claire? Have you ever tried automatic writing?
I actually haven't. Although I do channel a little bit from time to time. For me, the focus is more just about the connection with spirit rather than the automatic writing. But it is a fascinating subject. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, on that note, good evening, Pamela. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine, thank you.
So, Pamela, first of all, introduce yourself. Tell us how you first started on your journey with this spiritual world we live in.
Okay. Basically, I have 3 children. My 2 oldest children, both boys, were diagnosed with autism very young, and there were lots of sort of doctor's visits with paediatricians, and they struggled with school, and they did sort of want to apply medication. I was absolutely against all of that, and I sort of had some friends who did Reiki healing, and I thought, well, I'll have a go at anything to help my boys. So I went forward with the attunements and started learning more and more about energy healing, hands-on healing. And with working with Reiki healing, it seemed to activate a sensitivity with spirit, with energy, as I progressed with working with Reiki healings, and I sort of went on to do attunements worldwide over distant attunements, which are very popular these days. And I sort of then began to develop a deeper connection with spirit as I practiced with Reiki healing. And it just sort of turned more then into working directly with spirit, and I sort of came away from the Reiki healing a little bit, and suddenly sort of I came across a book on automatic writing, and after reading the book I just was fascinated, and I thought, well, I want to have a go at this. So I sat there in my kitchen with pad and pen and just holding my pen and sort of saying, okay, if there's a spirit out there, you know, my guide or angel, come through and, you know, do automatic writing through me. First of all, the pen would just stay on the pad, and it wouldn't move at all. And then eventually I sort of persevered. I think something within me was just telling me, keep going, keep practicing. And then it sort of developed into like 5-year-old scribble.
Right.
But it was not me moving the pen. And you can really feel an energy flow down your arm into your hand that's holding the pen. And your arm moves itself. And
wow.
It's a really weird sensation, really. And then as I sort of progressed, one day out of the blue, I wrote a sentence. And it just was sort of telling me, keep going. Each week's going to get better and better. And then I carried on practicing. And before you knew it, automatic writing became pages and pages of channeled writing. I have gone beyond automatic writing, and I now directly voice channel. But I still like to use the automatic writing as well. So that's how it really progressed. And I sort of mainly work with sort of spiritual guides, angelic beings. So it's been great, yeah.
God, that makes me feel so excited hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, I have
Yeah.
tried it myself, and like you said, it was like a scribble. I couldn't really make out any words,
Yeah.
but I only tried it once, so, you know, who knows what will happen if I kept on trying. I don't know, but it is a very strange sensation when the pen starts to move, isn't it?
It is, yes. I mean, if you know when you're not doing it because that pen's just not going to move on the page. It stays still. And it's almost like someone's taken your arm and sort of just is guiding it. It's quite a weird sensation that, you know, sort of an unseen presence is moving your hand, you know, your arm, your hand, and it will be scribble. I now teach automatic writing. I have a free course that I teach, and it's very simple. This was a course that I channeled from my own spirit guide, and it basically at the very beginning of this course, all they want you to do is to actually draw a line, but it's not you drawing that line. It's your spirit guide coming through that person, drawing that line. And then it progresses gradually to allowing your hand to be moved in a circular movement. So you try automatically doing a circle. That's a lot harder, and it does take a lot of practice. I mean, you may sort of think, oh, it's easy, you can just draw a circle, but you have to remember you as a person step back. And it's that spirit guide that works through you and does that circle.
So is this almost like more of a form of trance mediumship?
It is. I'm a trance medium. So automatic writing is a form of trance. It's usually the beginning levels of trance mediumship. Of course, I've progressed on from automatic writing into a full conscious voice channel now. But it's what we term as the beginning levels of trance, yes. Many people, a lot of my friends who are trance mediums have, they began with automatic writing before then progressing on.
Onto trance. Can you explain trance mediumship a little bit more to our listeners for me, please?
Yes, certainly. Basically, the way that there's many ways that one could explain it, but the way that I'll explain it is trance mediumship is where you open your crown chakra and very much your soul star chakra, which is your 8th chakra. And basically, a flow of energy from a consciousness, a light being, a spiritual guide or an angel is being channeled down into your crown chakra and through your whole chakra system. And it very much works with what they call a claircognizance ability. Claircognizance is sort of an instant knowing. So very much within trance mediumship, you're working with that claircognizance ability, clear knowing. So you're working with that energy that's being channeled through your own chakra system, and then you're interpreting that energy. So there's always going to be an aspect of yourself involved within trance because it has to come through you. But it's distinctly also a merging of consciousness. It's a merging of your consciousness and the consciousness of that light being that you're channeling. So you work together as a team to come forward and then deliver words from that energy that's flowing through you.
Wow.
Claire, have you ever done that? Because you're a medium. Have you ever tried trance medium?
I have done a little bit, and it was really interesting. But it's kind of strange because the way I can describe it from my point of view was, because I haven't done a lot of it, only a couple of times, and it was when we were on investigations. I was at Jamaica Inn once when it happened, and it was like being really drunk. Like, you know what you're doing and you know what you're saying, but you have no control over what you're saying. It was really, really strange experience. And I knew who was around me, but I was really focused on like one particular area and like an object in the room. And I knew that it wasn't me talking, but I knew that I had to still say, it was very odd experience.
Is it dangerous allowing spirit to come so close?
For me, it can be, but you have the right protection in place and the right guides in place. You tend to do it in a controlled environment, I feel. How do you work, Pamela?
For me, it was very challenging at the beginning, because when you're learning, you need to build that protection energetically within yourself, is the way that I experienced it for myself. So it really is important to call in your highest guides. They really need to work like 110% with you at that very beginning stages of trance to make sure that you are protected. And
I was just going to say, I don't know about you, but as I've progressed, as in my development, because I've changed, the way that I work has changed, as all does, doesn't it? Spiritually, when you're spiritually developing, you get new guides and more protection at various different stages and for what you need, don't you?
Yes, you certainly do. Guides change all the time. You do have a prominent main guide or two that's with you throughout your lifetime, but guides will all come to you with a purpose of when you need them. Yeah. So you evolve with your guides, yes.
Yeah.
My goodness. How often do you get new guides, Pamela? I know it's like the whole concept of this is quite new to me because I have set guides as you girls do, but I seem to have had the same four for quite a long time. One will be more prominent at various times. At the moment, my lady is more prominent than my male guides, and because I've been working in a different way, I've got a completely elemental guide come through recently, which is new, but they don't seem to be as close, or I think it could be just how I work is completely different to how you both work.
But you'll get guides to help you, won't you? We've had this conversation recently, haven't we, Kerry? Mm-hmm. Where I've recently had a new guide, Pamela as well, and she's very protective, and she's been helping me do some work that is quite sensitive, but she's a badass, frankly.
Gotta love a badass.
We love a badass. But by the same token, she's really gentle and very calming and I feel so safe. But and I always think when I see new guides, well, am I imagining that, or is that actually happening?
Yeah. I think with me, the way I understand it is that you have a spiritual guide collective consciousness, and with whatever you're doing on the earth, that most appropriate spiritual guide from that group soul collective will come forward to help you. It doesn't mean to say that you only have like say 4 guides. You could have 50 to 100 or more spiritual guides, Some guides like to work within the background and not be so forward because their help is most appropriate to support you in that way. So we all have a variety of guides. And it's important, really, especially within my own spiritual work and my own self-development, is that each day I do call upon my spiritual guide collective. And I just ask for the appropriate energies to just flow through my being so that I'm then attuning myself to every spiritual guide that I have. So then I'm aligned to every guide that works with me in a very forward way, or even those that work further behind, but still that assistance is supporting me in some way. So it's amazing, really, how big one's spiritual guide team really is.
And we're unaware, aren't we, really? I mean, for the benefit of people that may not know a lot about their guides, we talk about having a massive group. We're talking about having a massive group of spiritual beings supporting us and helping us through our lives. We're just not always aware of who and when.
Yeah, I mean, in someone beginning stages of development, it doesn't matter not to be consciously aware or know their names. What most is important is that you ask for help. The moment you ask for that help, that guide is there immediately with you working. So the sensitivity will come after. It all begins with just acknowledging that you do have spiritual helpers and you just ask for that help. And eventually, with trusting and knowing that that help is there, your sensitivity will develop, and then the process of working with your guides consciously then happens.
Yeah, I just kind of assume
the more you bring, go on.
No, sorry, I just sort of assume that the right one will come forward for the right time. I don't sort of like ask or, collectively connect. I just sort of start working and then assume that the right one will move forward, as it were.
You have free will, so if you don't ask for help, then you maybe are denying yourself the full help that you can receive for yourself, because all of us on the earth do have free will. So it's always nice, therefore, just to put that intention out there and sort of say to your spiritual guide collective, yes, I accept your help. It gives them permission to work with your energy, because your energy is sacred and your spiritual guides are not going to interfere with your sacred energy if you don't first invite them. So, yeah, it's always nice to just say, I welcome your help, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should be a little bit more nicer to my guides. You know me, I'm quite bossy. I know it's hard to believe this, but, I'm quite controlling. And so I see it as a team rather than them helping. How bad is that? I'm really bad at this,
aren't I? No, I think you're right to a degree, though, because but it doesn't have to be thankful. Thank you for coming forward and helping me today, or thank you for supporting me with that. Just thank the universe. That's what I do. I thank them for everything that I have, every opportunity that I get. But when my guides work with me, I see it the same way as you, Kerry. I see it like they are part of my team and they're my spiritual team. But I always say, thanks for that.
Oh no, I'm always thankful at the end of whatever it is I've done. But
well, that's all right then.
Of course I'm thankful. But sometimes if it hasn't worked out how I anticipated, sometimes I do bail them out too.
Yeah.
But we're on much better terms these days. I would just like to put that out. We went through a little phase, me and my spirit team, where we was a bit of loggerheads, and I was forever telling them off, and they were forever pulling me up and stuff like that. But that's settled down now.
It's like having family, though. They're like family, aren't they?
Yeah, that's sort of how
you
I
fall
see
out
that
with your family.
relationship. Yeah, I see. That's how I see the relationship.
Fed up with everybody at some point.
Particularly if things aren't going my way, I stamp my feet and wag on my finger quite often at my team. So
I'm glad I'm not on your team.
Oh, mate, I tell you, we all work really hard. We all work really hard.
Yeah.
So, Pamela.
Yeah.
Let's go back to automatic writing. When you started, once you got over that learning period, I suppose you could call it, what sort of things were coming through for you on the writing front?
Just divine wisdom. It was all loving. It was all wisdom that really sort of helped me to understand more about myself. And I really did spend a lot of time just doing automatic writing for myself, working on healing myself before doing automatic writing as a reading for another person. So I really made sure that I was at a point where I was confident and happy and reassured with the automatic writing, the standard that I felt I needed to be. The automatic writing never says you got to do this, you got to do that, because, guides, angels do not tell you what to do. But they do wisely and lovingly guide you through a process of learning that you're going through. And then it's for what you do with that wisdom that comes through. So, yeah.
So in regard to self, how was it? Was it like you need to work on this, or this is how you need to work on this, or do you know what I mean? Were they pointing out issues you needed to confront?
Well, at the very beginning, it was guiding me through a healing process. I had a very sort of challenging past relationship that I had to walk out of very quickly. And it was about sort of healing trauma that I had been through. And it was, challenging times and building up my self-esteem again, learning to love who I am. So it was just a gentle wiseness and giving forth of, there was a lot of meditations, there was a lot of affirmations that came through that I could work with as sort of health self-exercises to empower myself again.
Okay, what kind of affirmations were you given?
I can bring a few now. Things like, I am the love of my soul.
Okay.
I am the love of all that I am. I'm trying to remember. It was a long time ago now. I am within my joy. It was all these things, affirmations that, if repeated with intent, sort of changes the thought processing within your mind. So it's releasing that negativity that you think about yourself. Yeah. And sort of like reprogramming your mind to be in a more positive place. So that's why angels' guides really strongly bring through affirmations. They're powerful healing tools to work with.
They are. I've heard of this affirmations in regards to when I've spoken to life coaches before now, and they're very they really like people to do affirmations for themselves because it is literally telling yourself and, like you said, changing your energy vibration into a positive rather than that trying to change that negative thought pattern. So if you start with your day with an affirmation, you're actually starting your day on a positive. So I've heard of this in regards to, say, just a basic life coach, not anything spiritual, just an affirmation can be an incredibly powerful tool if you get
if I can just chip in. I went through a bit of a stage earlier in the year and was feeling really like I needed to change. I needed some positivity, and I found, I don't know if you've heard of Sarah Prout. I found her on Facebook.
Yes.
And she's exactly what you're saying about the affirmations, and she posted something on her page, and it was 10 affirmations, and it was things like, I am worthy, I am loved, I can create whatever I desire, all those sorts of things.
Yes.
And I got myself in the habit of saying them out loud on my way to work every morning, and by the time I finished what I was saying, I had a grin on my face. And I say to everybody, if I got it, I really feel like that was a stepping stone to turn me around to think, actually, what am I doing? I need to start embracing what I'm doing here and really go for it. And if I feel a bit low or a bit negative, I remind myself to do something like that, to do an affirmation, or to just say, right, come on, thank you, I am worthy, I am loved, you know, and just turn it around. And it's so true. It does what Pamela's saying about the positive mindset. It makes a massive difference, particularly when you're doing something like automatic writing or mediumship, or, you know, anything like that.
I just think like I said, on a general life thing, I think there's so much that we get hit with on a daily basis, like the pressures of life that can come at you, even down to like the kids not liking what you put in their lunchbox. It can bring you down, can't it? You know, that constant bombardment of you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you aren't able to achieve when you can achieve. And if you remind yourself of this, whether it be for a spiritual reason or for a day-to-day reason, it's really worth using that tool, that tool to reaffirm to yourself that you have got those abilities within you, that you can do it, that you are worthy. You know, I think that's a credible tool that anybody can use in whatever circumstance they're in, whether it be a spiritual way or a life way. So affirmations, guys, definitely check out if you're suffering from any kind of issue that you feel you can't break through.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, your guides and angels understand that the biggest healer out there is yourself. So this is what guides come through as support, is that they want to remind you that you are the healer. You are able to heal yourself. And this is why they bring through affirmations, because they understand that you have that power within yourself to heal on every level.
No,
it's like a reminder, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's definitely that reminder to yourself to change your energy vibration from that negative thought patterns into a positive. And it, like we've said, it's an incredible tool. Now, in regards to angels, you work very closely with angels, don't you, Pamela?
I do, yes.
Now, do you get angel signs? So, like, if they're drawing close and you're not working spiritually, do you get angel signs? You know, a lot of people talk about angel numbers and feathers and coins and stuff like that. What's your take on that?
The angels talk to me through numbers. I get 444, which is an angel number, or I get 144 or 11. These numbers keep being repeated on a daily basis. It's so funny. You know, I sort of look at my clock in the car, or I sort of suddenly think I need to check the time on my mobile phone, and it's 444. It's just...
Do you see them in other ways as well, like on like a bus stop, or you know? I had a warning from my angels once. There was something personal to me, and a car overtook my car. And I looked at the number plate, and it was 444. Oh, wow.
And I instantly, I had a knowing of a warning that I took note of. So thankfully. So, yeah, it's, you know, on, I've had them on clocks. That's all the time they have on clocks. Car number plates. I do get white feathers. I have had white feathers materialize out of nowhere. You know, my windows are shut, and all of a sudden I walk into a room and there's a big white feather sat on the chair that I previously got out of.
So unless you're farting feathers, that's just not really a possibility, is it really? Sorry, that's my humour. So Claire, do you get this? Because you work quite closely with angels too, don't you?
Well, I was just going to say, actually, I have started to. I was just going to ask Pamela, so do you hear the angels speaking to you? Or like, so if you get a sign, do you think, oh, they're trying to tell me something, I need to tune in? Or do you... Yeah. Do you just accept the signs? Oh, they're just letting me know they're around me. How does it work for you?
Yeah, I don't clairaudient. Sometimes I clairaudiently hear, but that's not often. immediately I just sense their energy, and all of us have an energy signature that's unique to ourselves, and it's the same with the angels, and you just learn of their energy signature. I mean, this is what you call clairsentience, feeling spiritual energy. So, and I also get sort of boomed into my third eye their color vibration. So, for example, if it was Archangel Raphael, I would sense his energy signature, and I would get a deep emerald color, on my mind screen within my third eye. So I instantly, that's Archangel Raphael.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I felt drawn to some angel cards not very long ago, and I realised after I used them, when I started using them, I was really aware of angels behind the person I'd be reading. And that was new to me. And I'm also really aware of my own angel, who I'm not consciously aware of all of the time, but when I focus on it, there he is, right there,
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah. But I have, funnily enough, this month, I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and I was saying I feel really drawn around a development circle. I'm really drawn to talking about angels this week, and we're going to do some practical stuff on sensing our angels and that kind of thing. And the person that I was talking to said, well, it's 11, isn't it? It's 1/1. It's angel month. And I was like, oh, actually, I'd never thought of it like that. November 1/1.
Oh, I don't tend to get things like this. I've said this before. I did do a show on angels, and I said in that show, I don't ever get signs, ever. I just don't notice. It's either that I don't notice them because I walk around and get in a little mindset of thinking and just don't really take in the outside world particularly much when I'm walking around, because I get quite focused. Do you know what I mean? And so I don't get signs. Anyway, I was sitting in the garden just days after, and this Admiral butterfly came and literally sat right in front of me for absolutely ages. And I was talking to my friend about not getting signs, and she was like, and you're not seeing that as a sign? And I was like, but that's it's just like a butterfly just sitting there. And she went, it doesn't sit there for that long. It's not what it is, it's how it acts that makes it the sign.
Yeah.
It's when something acts out of character, like we talk about, robins are supposed to be a sign for that.
Oh, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, that your spirit is supposed to be, like one of your family members is visiting you and giving you a sign that they're around you, particularly at this time of year. Yes, robins are very prevalent at this time of year, but when it acts out of character is when it's more the sign, not the fact that there's a robin in your garden. Do you know what I mean? It's when it acts out of character. Or you'll find a feather, like you said, Pamela, when you got up from the chair, there wasn't a feather there before, but then when you got up, there was. You know what I mean? It's things like that that make it a sign rather than any old white feather coming. I walk down, I've got a lake where I live, and there's like loads of birds, and there's white feathers galore. Do you know what I mean? That's not the point. The point is when something is totally out of context for what you would expect, that's what makes it the sign.
Yes, completely.
Yeah. And
it's like I said, go on.
No, sorry, when you recognize those signs for what they are, then you sort of learn then to recognize them more easily. So, you could then be experiencing them on a daily basis. It's just recognizing them at the beginning for what they are, and sort of then, allowing them to, because I think there's signs being given on a daily basis. I mean, I must miss so many signs every day because I'm busy with children or anything like that. Yeah. And it's just when you start seeing them and recognizing them, that's the way they come forward, like you said, then you're ready then to recognize the next sign, and it becomes easier and easier.
Yeah, it does. I have to say, just quickly, one of the biggest signs that I see everywhere in the most ridiculous places is hearts. And it's because I just always think they're just reminding me about the love, not just the love for me in my family, but the love, the worldly love, and I see them. I see them everywhere. I walk the dog and I'll see a bit of mud on the ground, and I think, and I don't see the mud, I see the heart. you know, the shape of what it is, or, you know, I'll just be walking around the supermarket and I don't know, just in random places I see hearts all over, and I just think, oh, it just reminds me of the love, and I just always take that like a sign from the angels as well, just to say we love you, we're near to you, and I know that they are.
So guys, do you ever switch off from angel energy? Because they're around us all the time. This is different from spirit coming through, isn't it? You can put that, I'm not working now, I'm shut down. But with angels, it's different, isn't it? Because they're around us a lot more than we give them credit for, really.
Yeah, I mean, I always, after I finished doing a channeling for myself or for another, I always close down. And, you know, I don't get any sensations. If they want to come through, then they'll just sort of beam that colour of their vibration. But usually, you know, they'll wait until I'm ready to sit down in a meditative state and open up. They don't sort of bombard my life. I think probably for anything that's like important or like a danger, then yes, they're going to come through, you know, with that sign to sort of say, you need to listen to us. But otherwise, no, I close down.
What about you,
Claire? Yeah, I close down, but I do and I don't. I should close down. If I do a reading for somebody and it's an angel kind of reading, then I will sit down with my cards and to do that, and then I'm focused on that, and I will see the angel there for them and all of that. But the rest of the time, I'm just more aware of my own angel. But really, I'm aware of my guides all of the time anyway. They are constantly with me. So as soon as I say, kind of need my angel love right now, I'm aware. So I never really switch off from that, because it's like carrying them around on my back all the time.
I see. So when you read in regards to angels, like an angel reading, or you're reading a person, how does that translate differently in energy?
So for me, if I'm doing an angel reading for somebody, I feel the angel energy. So it's slightly different for me from having like Grandad step forward, for example. They come in on a different vibration and they look completely different to me as well. So an angel will come in with a glow around it, whereas a family member or somebody else from spirit will just kind of be standing there. Does that make sense,
Pamela?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different. The energy between angels and family members distinctly are very different, and they come forward very differently. For me, if there's an angel, the energy just fills the whole room. And with a family member, I usually just feel them either standing to the left side or the right hand side of me. So it's distinctly, the energy is a lot, you know, it's not as expansive.
Yeah,
I see. So again, talking about readings, you do automatic writing as readings, don't you, Pamela?
I don't anymore. I now have moved, sort of evolved from automatic writing. When I'm channeling meditations or a course, then sometimes it's nice to just sit in a cozy chair with a pad and pen and write it all down, and I can type it into my computer and sort of, you know, do it that way. Very much for readings. Sometimes I sort of do automatic writing, but I type directly into the computer. And the words just flow into my mind and I can just type them up instantly. So it's sort of like various ways I can work with automatic writing, really.
Actually, that's what I was going to ask you earlier, because you were saying that you kind of, when you're doing the automatic writing, you feel like somebody else is writing using your arm and moving the pen for you. But so sometimes I will write things come into my head, and you can call that channeling. I've written things from my guides and things before and read them back and thought, God, there's no way that I could write that even if I tried.
Yeah.
But I never feel like I'm exactly automatic writing? How do you...
I know what you're saying. For me, automatic writing, when they're very much, you have that movement of your arm, it takes up a massive amount of energy from that spiritual guide to do that. So it's important that you practice the automatic writing and you evolve through that ability so that the words then become a clear cognizance, and the words are just pop there into your mind and you write them down. Then the spirit can concentrate on the message rather than moving your arm for you to really write that words down. So it's just elevating that gift, if you like, so it flows more effortlessly, so you can then concentrate on bringing forth a more expansive piece of wisdom.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah.
I see. So it's almost like you shut down your mind and just allow them to put the words into your head.
Yeah, that's clear cognizance, yeah.
I see. That's interesting.
Now, I wrote a meditation yesterday, Kerry.
Yeah.
And it was exactly like that. It was it was like I could hear it going into my head and was just typing it. It wasn't coming from me. It was like I was reading it to myself and just typing it. It was all. Yeah.
That then becomes more of a trance. So you're moving on from automatic writing, which is very much a beginner level, and you're moving more higher, should I say, into trance mediumship.
Am I? My God!
All the things we find out.
I know. And I just thought I was writing a meditation.
Isn't it strange how things happen, and then you talk to somebody and then you go, I'm doing that, and I didn't even realise I was doing that.
You're right.
So, Pamela, around you, the people you've had around you, how intrinsic have they been to your journey? Or have you done most of this solitary and just sort of like come across it on your own?
Well, I've been self-taught a lot of the time because I'm sort of single. I haven't got childcare, and I've got, two of my boys have severe autism. I couldn't get out to a development circle. And I just practiced myself. I read every book going, and I still do. And very much it was just sort of working myself. And sometimes I feel that is the best way, because when you go to a development group, you're sort of taught how to do it, but it may not be your way that you do that. You need to discover your way for yourself. And very much the angels didn't want me to join a development group because really, and I suppose I can say they were my teachers. The angels or my guides were my teachers. They didn't want me to sort of be taught in a way that maybe wasn't right for me.
Do you know, it's really interesting that you say that, because I run a development group, but for me, it's not about teaching people at all how to do it one way or how to even be a medium or whatever, psychic. It's just about bringing like-minded people together to talk about their own experiences, and we try and cover lots of different aspects. So, 1 week we might talk about crystals, and like this week we're going to talk about angels and talk about our own experiences and all that kind of thing. And I rely on my guides to maybe lead us through a meditation, or say, try a practical, like feeling each other's energy or connecting with an angel energy because of the way that they've explained it to me, that kind of thing. But I agree with exactly what you're saying. Like, as a medium leading a circle, that is the last thing I'd ever try to do, is try to teach somebody my way, because I agree with what you're saying.
There's different groups. I mean, you're teaching brilliantly. That's the right way to teach. You're allowing your students to find their own way, but being within the support of that group. But there's lots of development groups, and you just need to ask yourself, does this group serve my soul growth? And just listen for that answer.
Go where you're drawn. It's to go where you're drawn, isn't it?
Yeah,
really, and definitely. Guide you.
Yeah.
And connect to. I mean, I've been to a few various. This is going back in the day, when I was really quite young, and you kind of know if you fit into that group, don't you? You know, it's whether or not you connect to that group. And sometimes you'll find that you join a group, feel like you've connected, and it will naturally sort of like dissipate, or blocks will come up so you can't get to that group for some reason. And they will, spirit this is, will take you where you need to go, or bring that people into your circle, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I found. I mean, I'm pretty much self-taught as well, because I was in a very similar situation to you, Pamela, whereas I had young children, I couldn't get out to the circles and stuff. So when I first started working with crystals, it really was a question of, okay, well, this is how I'm now going to work, or how this has evolved into the situation I'm now in. Now I've got to learn this craft. And when you start working, it's amazing how it comes naturally, doesn't it? It just becomes so natural to you.
Yeah, I think when you just accept that you want to develop, then your guides, your angels will put everything in place. I mean, with regards to groups, it doesn't make any group better or worse. You know, every group is going to support somebody with what they need, but you have to just do with what you feel guided from within yourself, and, you know, spirit will lead you to whatever groups you need to be in, or if it is to learn for yourself at home, then that's right for you.
Oh, I
So,
totally agree. Yeah,
I've
totally
got a
agree.
question for you, Pamela. So if I was at home on my own and not able to get out to a group, but I had an interest in automatic writing, what steps would I take? Like, how would I start?
Okay. Well, basically, just it's always nice to set the room, you know, light a candle, maybe some incense, and have that, you know, safely lit. And just have a pen pad ready, holding the pen in your hand. Some people use their writing hand, some people use their non-writing hand. I always use my left hand, which is what I write with. And just focus on your breathing. That's what's most important, is to just focus on your breathing, because that opens up your chakras, your aura, your consciousness. And just invite Archangel Michael, your highest guides, to surround you. And just give intention that you want to practice automatic writing with your highest guides and angels. And just allow yourself to relax and keep focusing on your breathing. If you have a thought come into your mind that you know is like from your day, let it go. That sometimes, you know, that's the challenge with this exercise, is letting your own thoughts go, and you will know that they're your thoughts. And just relax your arm and the hand that you have your pen, and sometimes just raise your arm off, like don't rest it on the table, because that'll stop the energy. Just raise your arm slightly and just let your arm be moved. And if it is like 5-year-old scribbles, that's the beginning process of it, you know, and just keep practicing.
Yeah,
I agree with you there. Yeah. I mean, that's, like you said, that's the challenge when you very first start working in spiritual ways, getting your mindset and into a meditation set is sometimes very difficult, isn't it?
It is, and, you know, perseverance, really, because it can take a week, or it could take, you know, a month or two, you know, depending on how much you allow that mind chatter within yourself. So it's just, the important thing is, don't expect anything, just be within that moment.
Yeah.
Let it flow.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. I say, when I very first started meditating, that was one of the hardest things, because things like, what am I going to cook for dinner tomorrow? Or, you know, oh, I better change the washing over, keep popping in your head. And that is the challenge, isn't it? Is to stop that mind thought.
It is. I mean, that's the first stepping stone to everything that you want to do within your spiritual development, is cutting out that mind chatter is the very first step, if you like.
Yeah,
I agree. You can use amethyst to help cut that mind chatter, by the way. Just put that out there. That's my little bag. So going forward, you do platform mediumship, don't you, Pamela?
No, I don't. No.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I don't. No.
So you work better on a one-to-one front.
Yeah, I just work from home. I mean, it's very difficult for me to get out anyway because of my boys with their severe autism. No, I just work from home from my laptop, and I have been invited to do channelings at various venues, to like open up the evening and things like that. And it's always nice to be asked to do that, and when I can. But mainly, I work from home. Yeah.
Okay, so you do it more remotely.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you find that works? Because some people can channel that way and some people can't. So how do you find that works for you?
To be honest, it makes no difference if I was in person with somebody or they're in another country. It's just that instant energy connection. Spirit have no boundaries, and it's spirit that's working. I'm just the channel. That's all I am. It's spirit that does the work, and they have no boundaries.
I see.
That's so true. It's so interesting. It's amazing. They're amazing, aren't they, Spirit?
They are.
What more can we say?
Oh, I think we can say quite a lot.
It's amazing.
It is always fascinating to me, people that work in a mediumistic way. And say I work energy and work very much with locational energy and stuff like that. So to then take that step into connecting with people, for me is very difficult. I don't particularly do that very often, but I do pouches that I do readings for alongside the pouch. So I suppose I'm sort of dipping my toe in, I suppose, is the expression. But I never get really a personal connection with a family member or something like that that's passed. I tend to be able to focus very much on the person and tune into the person and what they need to empower them, which is why I tend to work with empowerment rather than with individual family members coming through. So when you get a family member come through, Pamela, do you get like a whole crowd, or is it one at a time?
I don't at the moment do much mediumship. If I did, then it very much is an angelic presence in the middle. So it's you can visualize it as myself, then the angelic presence, then the sort of spirit family member, who will then communicate to the angel, and the angel will communicate then to me. Because I'm not, if you like, a traditional medium. I very much channel angelic or spirit guide wisdom.
Ah, so you get more that vibe than you do the other vibe. Is it always angels?
No, it can be ascended masters, goddesses, elementals, star beings, Mother Earth consciousness. Yeah. Whoever wants to up there wants to bring wisdom through, really.
What's the strangest situation you've had that you've thought, now that's different?
I would say probably channeling star consciousness guides. I mean, some of them look very similar to us, and others can look very completely different, and their energy very, very much is different. And it sort of just needs time to sort of allow that connection to occur, really, and just, well, probably for me to accept it, because I'm not familiar with it. So, yeah, probably channeling star guides is very interesting for me. I don't do too much of it at the moment, but, yeah, for me it's that.
Can you explain star guides for me? Because I've not come across that term before.
Nor have I.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, to think that we only exist within a whole universe sort of really is quite crazy, really. The universe is filled with life. And very much there are beings that exist elsewhere, not just on Earth. And they basically, they are star guides. You know, they are spiritual guides, ascended masters, but not associated with Earth consciousness. They are evolving elsewhere in the universe.
Okay. That's a concept I'm finding very difficult to get my head around, to be fair. I won't lie. So, effectively, they are not part of our world?
No, they're not. No, they're part of, you could say different worlds, different galaxies, elsewhere, consciousness within the universe. Everything is consciousness.
And is their message any different?
Sorry, say that again?
Is their message different to what you would get from an Earth-linked entity?
Not really. They're very evolved, very loving divine consciousness. So their message will always be of love. So it's still going to come through a loving way, the same as angels. It's just a different energetic vibration.
So are they specific guides for us, like a spirit guide? Or are they
yes, they are. Basically, a lot of us term ourselves as star seeds. A lot of us originate from somewhere within the universe. You can call it star family, soul groups. So these very much are spiritual guides that are part of our soul group origin. So yeah, they're very much involved with us, but the origin, the connection probably goes back, a long, long way. We are eternal beings. You can understand that we've been around a long time, and our soul star family has always been there. So we do have star consciousness guides who they never leave you. You're part of your family, your soul family.
It's a nice concept, isn't it?
Yeah, you're never forgotten. You're always loved, yeah.
Not from anywhere, it sounds. So how does that appear to you? How like I said, this concept is
Kerry's your mind blowing.
I'm having a little bit of a mind blow moment. I'm not going to lie to you. How does that appear to you? I mean, you talk about energy signatures, and you can recognise angel and elemental and goddess energy and stuff like that. That I can sympathise with, working with different energy signatures myself.
Yeah.
But when we go external to this planet, to this understanding, that's where I suddenly get a little, I suppose, incredulous, I think is the word, and without being disrespectful to you at all, or them, because obviously I don't want to upset anybody in the universe. How is that different?
It's not really different. It's exactly the same. You're just expanding your consciousness, further. Sort of like a Palladian or a spiritual guide from Orion. They're still going to come forward with their own energy signature. So, it's like you can tune into the energy of the moon. That's a different planet. It's a consciousness that's off of Earth. So the same of the sun. So it's not really that different, really.
Okay, so do they tell you about their worlds?
No, not really, because there's no learning for me to really understand their world. They want for me to learn and to support me with what I'm doing on the earth. So it's there really to support my own development, so that I can do the work that I do better to help other people on the earth. So they very much will act, exactly the same as any spiritual guide or angelic presence. They are there to guide, to teach, to support, to protect.
Mm.
Wow.
Well, that makes sense, like extra help to you in your work.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've only come forward because I've accepted it. I was at a point where you are, Kerry. And
yeah, I don't mean to be rude or disrespectful. It's just a new concept to me, that's all.
It's just through my work and through learning that it's just, again, something that I've realised and recognised and begun to have an understanding. It's not something that I say that I totally understand. That's impossible. It's something that I've just realised that, yes, they do exist. Yes, it's there. Yes, I recognise their presence, and something that I accept. And if I accept, then more of that energy consciousness is going to come forward as divine teachers, guides, and so forth, because I accept.
Okay. It could be, I found this recently in regards to belief systems that you don't realise you've got necessarily, that you have to sort of like work at breaking down so you can accept something that's a little different to what you didn't even realise you had a belief system in place for. I think that's probably more, for me, that's probably more what that's about, is that being able to accept it because I have a belief system in place that maybe I didn't even realise I had. So that's probably, I keep being told to be, I thought I was always quite open-minded, and then there's been a few incidences, even in the paranormal world recently. I'm thinking Geff, the mongoose situation I had with Ashley Nibbs recently. I should be a little more open-minded, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, star consciousness is not going to make themselves known unless, you're wanting to accept that. That they are of divine love consciousness. And divine love consciousness comes in an abundance of limitless forms within the universe.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's astonishing to me, and maybe something I need to learn or recognise a little more. Who knows? And on that note, ladies, we've actually come to the end of the show.
Wow, it's gone quick.
Thank you.
It does. It goes so quick. Thank you so much for coming on, Pamela. It's been fascinating talking to you. I always find it fascinating. Yeah, I always find it fascinating talking to people who work so differently in the spiritual field, because, like you said, everybody finds their own way of working, and it works incredibly powerfully and well. It's just finding what works best for yourself. And you certainly seem to have embraced your journey and what you do incredibly. So, Claire?
Yes.
What do you think?
I just think that none of this spiritual stuff, it never ceases to amaze me. I trundle along doing my little bit and under my rock, and then I speak to somebody like Pamela who makes me feel less crazy. But but equally it's amazing, like what you're doing with the automatic writing and the angelic, the working with the angelic energy and all of that. It's just been lovely to talk to you, and I think it's just nice to get such a wide range of opinion and experience, isn't it, really?
Oh, thank you. It's been lovely to talk to you too.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much. Now, guys, don't forget we have shows going out every night of the week next week. On Monday, we have the Parasearch UK radio show replay, which is all about Jay and Teresa's journey to New Orleans. So that is definitely worth a listen to. That was absolutely fascinating. Now, on Tuesday, we have no Paul Rook. He's actually on holiday this week. So let me know if there's any specific show Paul's done in the past that you would like to re-listen to. Or I might see if I can come up with something myself. I might take over the studio. I'm not quite sure yet. On Wednesday, Haunted Histories with Penny G. Morgan. She's talking about Fort Horsted this week. On Thursday, we've got the KTPF Reload show. That's going on Thursday. And on Friday, the Dark Mirror show with myself, Mark Manny, and Kaz Rooney. We are looking we're discussing whether or not TV programs, paranormal TV programs, have a detrimental effect on the actual paranormal. So join us for that one. Now, next Sunday evening on the Spirit Dimension, Claire and I are going to be talking to a fantastic lady I met recently, Elizabeth Coet. Now, she works in the paranormal field, but she works in Europe. So that one is going to be absolutely fascinating. I'd like to thank Clare and Pamela for joining me tonight on the Spirit Dimension. And on that note, I'll say good night and farewell to you all. Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.